All right. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Go. There we go. Hello, 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 hello. So, right. So today, there's no face cam. My webcam is a little bit messed up right now, but I have the keyboard cam on. I also have I also have this going on right here. So you guys see the keyboards and stuff like that. So hi, welcome. So today we're gonna be like continue working on Angular 3. Just continue working on Angular 3. I'm trying to like release officially. I mean the first stable version of Angular 3. It's been on beta for quite some time now, so I really want to get it out the door. Okay, so let me increase the font size a little bit here. So just go to font. Right, and I'm gonna just bump it to maybe 22. Let's see if I can see it. Right, I think that's so much better. All right, right. So, what I'm doing now is I'm creating the generator to generate these packages. So if you look into this like geometries, all of these are generated. So if you look into one of these, it's called generated, and this is also generated. And I'm looking into what I can generate. And the reason why I go with generators is that THREE.js has a tons of classes, right? But then each of these classes, I want to wrap these classes in a directive. Right, just like this one, like right here, like box geometry, right here. I want to wrap this inside of a directive called ngT box geometry. I don't want to write these myself because they're very repetitive and boring. That's why I'm gonna go with like generator. So I'm gonna generate what I can generate, right? So things like audios, like you see inside audios, I have three directive. This one is generate. This one is generate, right? Right here. But this one is not. So this one I wrote myself because it is different from the rest of the audios. Right. So I mean, thank you guys for showing up. Whoever's watching right now, thank you. Say hi. Say hi in the chat if to let me know if you're in. Yeah, you're watching, and then let's get started. Right. So like the first thing, go back here real quick. I'm just gonna look at one of these generators, one of those generators that I have written, so I know what's going on. So I'm just gonna copy everything inside of here, go back to this one, paste that in, go back to the top, right? We go like 20. There we go. All right. So what I'm doing here is basically, right. What I want to do is I want to grab. So this is my project structure, right? What I want to do now, these generators is they stay inside of tools and they operate based on the root path, which is this one right here. And I wanna be able to find my libraries directory, and it is actually inside of packages, but I want to be like a little bit programmatic, right? I want to be a little bit smart about it. So NX has a function called get workspace layout, and you can pass in a tree. Right, the tree is from like Narwhal dev kit right here. So you call get workspace layout. It's gonna give you back some information like the apps directory, npm scope, and stuff like that. Here I want the libraries directory, which would give me the packages. Right, next I want to find, so I'm inside of like the curves generator, so I'm going to look for the library called curves. So each of these right here, except for the source, like this one stats, and then all of these are secondary entry point, right? So imagine my library is from Angular 3 / core. Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, something wrong. Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh, hello. Back. So, uh, okay. All right. So something happened with my mic, so it's a little bit messed up. All right, we're back. Right, so I'm right here, right? I'm explaining the secondary entry point. So assuming my library is hi, hello, what's up? So assuming my library is Angular 3 / core, secondary entry point allows me to do this, like so I can do audios, right, or curves. Things like that. These are secondary entry point. Right, so now I need curves. So what I want to do is just like start replacing all of these, right, with curves for now, right? Um, uh, this one it's gonna be curved there, and here I'm saying, hey, if you don't, wait, what? Right, so here I'm saying, hey, if you don't find the um, if you don't find the library, the curves, then create a new secondary entry point library. All right, and here generated audios. We don't need to keep track of that. We don't need to keep track of that. We need the curve. Just remove this. It's gonna be curve. Right. Remove that. It's gonna we don't need that. Oh, actually, I do need the generated, and this is generated curves. All right. Remove that. Rename this to curve. Remove that. Say it's just gonna be that save, and we don't return anything from this generator. All right, now we have this. So what I'm saying is that for each curve inside of this curves array right here, right, I want to generate a directive for it. I like this one, and then for each one, this would be outside, right? So for each of these, I'm gonna push the file name into this array, and then I'm using that array to generate my index file. So if you look at the geometries right here, right? So I need those so I can like generate this index file from each of these. Right. So now we're gonna like write the files, the file for basically the directive that we're gonna generate. But then before we do that, I'm gonna go back to my audios, right? And this is wrong. I'm gonna have to bring this outside because we only want to generate the index once. And just let double check everything here because I've just copy and paste. So let's smooth this outside. Let's move that outside, right? Next, I have controller, so blah blah blah. That's good. Curve geometry. Let's go. Yep, this should be all move outside. Hello, hello, hello mọi người. Hôm nay mình nói tiếng Anh nhá. There we go. So that's all good. Now let's look at the curve. So we have files and we have index. And we have index.ts, TLPM, which is like just a template, right? And inside of here, we're gonna have a for, just like that. And we're gonna say, hey, generated. So here I'm saying, hey, for each of the file name in the items array, like do this. So file name dot directive. So that's the convention that we're gonna go with. And now let's go back to the curves, right? Curves, and it's right here. So items is I'm passing that generate curves array inside of it. Right, next we're gonna need the lib, and we need the file name directive.ts tmpl. Right, now what's gonna go in here? I'm gonna go back to one of the generated file that I have. So that's the shape of a curve directive, right? So we're just gonna change all of these to file name, and this one, and we change those to name. Save that, and let's see. This is curve R's. Right, and blah 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 blah. Right, that looks good to me. And let's run it. Let's put it here, and let's run it. So it's gonna be inside of here, curves generator 3, and make sure that we be core add curves generator, and let's run it. Okay, there's something wrong in the template of curve. So let's just take a look at that. So it's say, oh, it's right here. And all right, we fix that. So we put this in because I mean we forgot to generating. Okay, looks good. Now let's look at what is generated for me. All right, so now you see that it generate a secondary library for me, right? With this, with the README of the correct path, and let's look at each of these. So look at that. Let's generate it. It's gonna just I mean, generated, 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 generated. Everything looks good. All right, everything looks good. So now I'm gonna go check index. So that's the index as well. So now I have the curves, which I just write this file right here to generate the files, and I write a template. It's right here, and I have all of those directives. Now just commit this one and say, hey, feed core, add curves. Right, back to this. Right, what next? Go other tabs. So next I will have helpers. Now the thing is, I don't know if I should have helpers. I do have helpers, so I'm gonna put in helpers, and let's go to helper. I will grab all of those helpers, go back to this. Go to my generator, look for file helpers, helpers.ts. helpers.ts, and paste that in. So it calls helpers, paste that in. Dot name, just import this, and this to that. Right, export. Hello, yeah. Export default async function helpers generator tree. And we're gonna repeat the same thing over and over again until we finish everything. So for this, I want to take a look at like which axis helper. Just grab the shape of it. Right, just grab the shape of it, and again here I'm just gonna copy from I guess light, right? And just gonna grab that, put it here, go back here. Instead of lines, we will have helpers, right? Instead of line there, we will have helper there. Save. Generate lines. Instead of that, we have generated helpers, right? And instead of line, we have helper. Very simple. And again, all of these I can make into a function, right? That I can reuse, but I'm gonna leave that for later. Now new file is gonna index.ts, tmpl, that, and it's gonna be the same thing from this one right here. So generated, right? It's gonna be that for now, and go back here. So it's gonna be lib, and it's gonna file name directive.ts, tmpl. Put that in. I'm gonna put this in. All right, now this is the shape of a helper. I wanted to look at my helper.ts and see what it is. Right, so this one has that. So I need to have entity object controller provider, right? And that's gonna go here. Just remove it. All right. So now this gonna be it's gonna be file name, right? And this is going to be name, and I think that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. So let's look at this again. Access helper directive. Everything looks good. Go back here. Say I have helper zone. I have that init function and on changes. Init function. Helper R's. Yeah, of course. Instead of extra R's, I need helper R's. Run back here. I think it's just gonna run on this here. All right, so back here. And have helper. Everything looks good here. All right, so it's ready. It is ready. Generated helpers, format file, and return generated helpers. So this will return a promise string array. Now, this is a little bit different than the curves because my helper is an object. So if you look at this, like the helper class will extend an object 3D, which means that it's going to be an object that's get added to the scene, right? And if you look at any object, basically any object class is going to have the object 3D controller injected, and inside of this one is going to take care of all the logic of adding the object onto the scene or onto the parent object and stuff like that. It will handle everything. It will also handle the position, the scale, the rotation as inputs. So because it is an object 3D, right? Oh, okay. By the way, so if you look at these you look at these directive, the selector is gonna match with whatever object 3D that you have. So here I have a light. It is an object 3D. Now, as I said, the helper is also an object 3D, which means that I need to somehow generate this file with the correct selectors. So that's why in my generators, so I return that from the index, grab that. So helper generator, passing it 3. Now just give me the helpers selectors. All right, that's give me that. Now I can just pass that in here. Helpers helper selectors, and in this controllers generator is going to use that object 3D selectors and just generate everything for me. And so now that's done. So I'm going to add this as fit core, add helpers generator, right? And we'll just run this one right here. And hopefully everything gets updated. So now it's done, it's success. So now let's look back at the object 3D controller. Right now you will see that the helpers gets added, right? Everything looks correct now. And of course, I'm gonna have my helpers up here as well. Right there, and right here. Okay, so that helpers. And of course, I'm gonna do this. I had helpers, and I'm gonna do a quick build to make sure that my library is still built successfully. Yeah, everything looks good to me. So that's built. Now let's continue. So next we have texture, right? And let's just double check if I worry about texture. I do right here, texture. And texture is just a class. It's just a directive. Texture is just directive. It doesn't really have anything in here. So we just look at the texture and just grab all of those textures. Go back here again. Create a new generator for texture. Right, this is gonna be texture dot yes, export on textures. It's gonna be that, and import that, not there, and that. Save. Oh, so now it's just export the for async function texture generators. Right, and this is 3, this is typing 3 from dev kit. Then that's it. Now just go back to I guess curves, and copy again. Go back here. Let's redo that. All right, and do that for a texture, right? This is texture there. This is texture. This is generated texture. It's done. Right now I need to create the files. So just files index.ts, tmpl. Again, it's gonna be this guy from here. Save that. Go back here. Just live dot file name dot directive.ts tmpl. Oops. Oop. That right now. Let's look at one of the texture. So I have a texture directive. Just grab that and go back here. Paste that in. This is the shape of a texture. This is very simple. All right, just that. So now this is gonna be file name. It's gonna be. You see, a lot of these like can be reused, but then I don't really want to have like too much logic inside of these template files, so I keep them separate, even though I have some duplication. Right, now I think that should be good. Back to this one. So this is a texture generator entry, right? Core a texture generator and run that. There, done. So let's look again with the texture. Now I have the texture and everything looks good to me. So look at the index. That looks good to me, right? And back to it's just gonna commit this. So it's just gonna be core add texture. Right, what's next? What next? Next I have lines. Let's see if I worry about line. I don't have line. So line is a material geometry watch controller. So it's a little bit different, right? So let's go. All right, back to this one. So it's just gonna create a line right here. So it's gonna be do I have 3 line? What is line 3? All right. Same thing. It's gonna be function like generator, tree, and because again, let's just go back here. You can see that this one is an object, right? It is an object type. So I'm just gonna I need to return the generated thing here. So now that's done. I'm gonna go to my lights and just copy this right back here, that back here, and instead of lines, now I have lines. That's instead of light there. Generated lines. Let's get the line again. Yep. So for each line, that's the line. Save. So that looks, hey, hello. So that looks good. Now we need the files. So again, same thing. We need the index. And this is just the generated. This one right here. This one. You're gonna need lib file name directive.ts tmpl. Right now, let's figure out what the lines look like. So right, so now this is the shape of a line from my old library. So I have command line. I need the object 3D. So let's look at a mesh because line looks like a mesh to me. Meshed directive. There we go. So basically this is a mesh. So inside of here, just that. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's that simple. It's that simple. So let's look at the mesh directive. I think it's just this. Right, it's gonna be that that and ngt object type. This is file name. This is name. We want that name. We don't have that anymore. You have this, right, and we do have this. I want to provide the NGT common mesh as well. Use existing with NGT mesh. I want to have that. And there's a that. It's gonna be 3 dot. We don't have anything in here. It's gonna be name. Say. So do we have input? We haven't have input. No. So we don't need the input. Save. So now that's my files, right? And I guess that's it. So now go back to the index. Now I have lines generator 3. Then have the lines selectors here, and now I can pass in line selectors for this guy. There's a reason why the line selectors there, because this one. For each mesh and for each line, I want to have that. So back here, let's say simply feed core add line generator. Run the generators. I should see lines, and the controller gets updated. So let's look at that. Now lines is there, so look at the lines. Looks good to me. That looks good to me. And that looks good to me. So there's one more thing I want to fix. So this one, I want to be able to provide NGT common mesh with the NGT instance mesh, right? Same thing with the skin mesh. So for skin mesh, I want to provide NGT common mesh with NGT skin mesh. So this helps with like dependency injection down the line, right? If I want to have if I want to inject any common mesh, or if I want to like query for any NGT common mesh, it doesn't really matter which mesh that I use. I can just grab it. So that's the point of having that. The same thing with the line here, right? Say, hey, for any common line that you're gonna query, and if the closest one is this guy, then just use the NGT line. So that's the line. Everything looks like generate correctly. Now let's look at controller, because we also updated controllers. So now this controller should have the line, and also this one should have all the lines and like all the helpers and stuff like that for me. So that looks good. I'll go back here and say feed core add lines. 30 commits now. I'll go back here. Next we have sprites, right? Sprites and cameras. I also want cameras, so sprites and camera. In source in 3, I do have sprite and I do have camera, so we're gonna do that. Two more to go. Alright, so it's gonna be sprites.ts, right? And let's look at a sprite. I think there's only one. Yeah, there's only one. We would do it anyway. So sprite, let's import that. I don't know why to import that, but I have this. Okay. Export default async function sprites generator. All right, so let's look at the sprite. So this guy is an object controller. So it is an object 3D. So look at this. It's a sprite. They generate an object 3D. Oh, they extend an object 3D. So they are object 3Ds. So we need to promise return a string array from this one. So save that. Next, go to lines, because I think this is the closest one. So just close this, paste that in, go back here. All right, grab the lines into sprites. Change this into sprite there. Looks good, looks good. This one is bright. There we go. And save. Oh, generated. All right, back here, I need the files, right? So for this file, I think it's very similar to the helpers. So back to this one, lib. So it's very similar to the helpers. I'm gonna just look at this, paste that in, look back here. We don't need that, but we need the object controller provider. Sprite, and again this is filename. This is name. We don't have that. We do have that. We don't have yes. let's see, name. Say back to my sprite. I do have sprite type, I think. There we go. And I have a content child of material directive. That's fine. Looks good to me. Right now, back here, this should do it. Right. It should do it. Right now, back to my index. Let's say Sprites generator, h3 Sprite selector. Right, and here I can just do Sprite selectors. And pour as Sprites generator. There we go. Look good. Right, back to double check. Right, so let's check the controller. So it should have ngT sprite right there. This one as well, ngT sprite. I should have one library in here of that, and index like that. Looks good. So now last one is camera. Right, so core and sprites. Last one, cameras. Right, so we have cameras. Yeah. Go back here. I'm gonna go back to my catalog and grab the camera. So I have 5 cameras. All right, there we go. Let's just import that. Go back here, make that. Go back to go back to this one. Name, save, and I have export default async function, cameras generator, G. And again, so now we have this. So let's go to my camera.ts, right, in the 3. So this is the ngT common camera, and it is an object 3D. So it's exactly the same as the sprite one. So if you look at the camera here, is an object 3D. Again, which means that it has to be added to the scene. Right, so I'm gonna go here and just look at one orthographic camera directive. And as I mean, it looks exactly the same as before. So I'm just gonna copy this one and go back to my camera TS, and I have camera R's. So for the I think that's gonna be like numbers. So let's just paste that in, and let's look at this. Up, and it's gonna be that, right? All right, I have ngT object controller provider, and orthographic camera is gonna be file name. It's gonna be name, and we don't need that. We don't need this. And this is camera R's, select R's. Done. Simple. So back to lines. Generated camera. This is camera. Save. Go back to Right to index. It's gonna be camera generator 3 and gonna be camera selectors. That's in here. Camera selector. Save this. All right. Should be ready. Oops. Run that. There we go. So now I have all the cameras up. Cube camera. I think I need to worry about this one as well. So I'm just gonna move this one inside of here, right? And let's look at orthographic camera. Camera R's. This is NGT common camera. Oh, I'm not. So back to my source index. I don't have that. I don't have camera exported, so now it should be good. There we go. So I need to adjust this a little bit because I have the cube camera. So what I want to do is this right here is gonna be cube camera, and it actually needs to be added to this as well. Cube camera, right? And make sure that it's run correctly. So I'm just grab that, grab this. I did move the cube right there. I think the rest can be regenerated. Alright, so I do that, and regen. Mọi người cho em hỏi là giờ học 3.js nào khóa 3.js Bruno. Học của Bruno. Học của Bruno. You talk about this one, right? 3.js. 3.js journey. Learn this. Learn this. Learn this. Look at this. So good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, học cái này. Học cái này nhá. Mình có tài khoản đấy chứ. Oh no, I don't still have it. Yeah, I forgot my password. Got your password, I can do that. All right, I can go back here. 1 second. Checking my email, so I can go in that. Done. All right, so back here. So remove that. Yes, remove that. Done. So now I can go back to 3.js. 3.js journey. Yep, this one. This, yeah. Okay, I'm back here. So here, mình có khóa học này mà mình chưa học xong. Alright, so mình khuyên là nên học. It's good. Okay, back here. Alright, so I think I did rerun it. Yeah. Now let's double check. So cameras, I should have the cube as well, and my controller should have that cube. There we go. There we go. So good. I think that's it for the core library. That's it for core library. I mean, there's really nothing. There's really nothing else in core library that you should be that we should be worried about right now. I mean, I can start playing this, right? What serve demo. Yeah, and I can go to localhost. That, and I have my cube spinning, and that is like the code for this one is just basically this whole thing right here. All right, so you have a mesh, you have a mesh basic material, and you have a box geometry, and that's pretty much it, right? All right, let's do something else. So I'm gonna have, instead of basic material, I'm gonna have entity mesh font material module. I'm gonna also add the ambient light module, and also entity spotlight module. Save that. It's gonna restart my TypeScript. The keyboard is this one. It's ZSH. Right, so I have those two, and I'm gonna go back to this. Instead of this, I can do mesh font, and it's gonna be black, right? Because this kind of material needs to have light reflected, or else this you look into like a dark room. Right now we need some light, which means I can put in ambient light, just like that. It doesn't work. So light doesn't work. All right, we need to see how light works right now. So on ready, on created, right, and we can pass in the scene, so we can console log it. So log scene. There we go. Scene. I have the ambient light. I have the ambient light. Just like can do standard material. Still black. Fine. Usually you should see it right away. Why? Why light's not working? I have those, but it's not working. Oh, because intensity is undefined. Interesting. So hold on. So something wrong with my light. So let's see what light default to, right? So if we look at ambient light right here, the intensity of the light is source light.js. The intensity default to 1. So if I don't pass it in, it should be default to 1. So something wrong with my stuff. So let's look at this. All right, so let's look at the entity light, because this is where things get funky. So the intensity equals the number right there. So the props right here say intensity right? So make sure that here I have this dot line, right? And then here I will have the intensity of this dot just do props, props and pause. I do a quick after props apply and this dot line. Save that. I'll go back to my demo. I should see that ambient light of intensity. I should have intensity in here. Oh, undefined still. It's undefined. So, whoa, this should be easy, right? It should be easy. So I can do that. I do if this intensity is not that, I would just attach intensity on the props. As unknown records. That should work, right? Unknown records right there. And now I should see a light because now I have the intensity. Before it doesn't have the intensity, so it doesn't really work. So that's actually a little bit better. Back to app component. I will keep that. Now I have the ambient light, and on a spotlight I want to set up some position, right? I just move the light to the front a little bit, to the right a little bit, and outside a little bit. So now you can see that the light hitting the side of the cube instead of on top. Right. Looks good, right? Looks good. And I want my color back, so turquoise. Say that's my turquoise. All right. I bet there will be bug like that. There will be bug like that for sure. This is fixed core. Make sure intensity is initialized, is default to 1. Right. Dots demo play around with core. All right, now before we move on, I want to take a look at this library. This is Dre. Dre. GitHub.com. Dre. Right here. I'm gonna move this over to the R3F as well as this one and that. So Dre is it's like a collections of helpers, utilities, things that provides additional stuff, specifically the controls. There's no orbit controls in here. Where are the orbit controls? So look back to source. Well, actually, I do have it open here, so I can just actually just do a quick pull. Yep, some view commits. Yeah. That's fine. We can get to that later. So core, look at orbit controls. So this is the thing that we want to port over to Angular. Right, so and we can take a look into how to make those if we can generate those as well. Like before in my legacy Angular 3, in my legacy Angular 3, I have a dedicated controls, like completely library. And if people want to use controls, they're gonna have to install Angular 3/controls, which I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this at all. Like, you look at this. This looks stupid, right? And then I also have soba or soba, right? Soba. And in here I have, again, same thing. I have this object controls right here, with all that, with all that, with all that thing. So basically I can just copy this over, to be honest with you. And I call it soba object controls. And yeah. So I guess so that's why I'm gonna just create one soba library, and then inside of that I have controls. So that, well, like, people want to use some helpers, some additional stuff that is not inside of the core THREE.js, they install the soba and they have all those. Also, one other thing that I want to point out is that in the legacy, if you look at, I guess, like mesh right here, right? So inside of mesh I have 6 meshes instead of just 3. Now let's look at one of them. So lie2, right? And you see that lie2 is imported from 3/examples instead of like if we go to mesh dot directive, you can see that this is from 3 core. This is not. This is like additional stuff, and the reason for it is, like, the THREE.js is a huge library, and the stuff that inside of examples, you should really just copy what you need and put it in the bundle and use that instead of importing from examples, right? And I feel like these examples make the generator extremely complicated. So if you look at the one of the generators, so I have call and the generator right here, right? Look at the libby right here. Look at this. Like, if it is example, and then all of these different logic inside of my generator or my template, it is to a point that I cannot maintain this anymore. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just have separate files, separate template, and take all the examples outside of core. I don't need these examples in core at all, because I'm gonna move these over to the soba one. Right, I'm gonna move all of these examples over to the soba, and that is where it's gonna get used. And that's it. So now let's go back to this. So on start, on change, on end. So let's look at that object control, right? And let's say change, start, end. And I mean, I do have those, and I kind of have all of this as well. I mean, let's write this object controls directive, and we can call it a day, and we're gonna use it, right? So the first thing first, you know what? I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna push. All right. So now, soba is a separate library from core. So we're gonna create a new library, and I call it soba. All right. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be from Angular 3/soba. And it's gonna be NGT publishable. Simple module name. I don't think I need module, but let's just go with that. Scope soba, type lib, generated. There we go. All right, so now I have soba, and let's look inside of soba and what I have in here. Package JSON. I do have that, so I'm just gonna copy this. Go back to my soba. I need the public access as well. So look at this, that right there. So let's look at my soba in here. Package JSON. This looks exactly the same, right? So now for soba, I want to have dependencies on this one, right? Because this is what they're gonna use. We're gonna use this instead of the examples, because this one is written in TypeScript, and it's more optimized for tree shaking. So I'm just gonna install this one. All right, go back here, just yarn add, actually, just add p solar, the mid solar, right? And we have yarn add that this. There we go. So this one is gonna be core at 3 std lib. Back to this one, and of course my dependencies. My dependency will have 3 std lib of that version. All right, so now back to I don't think I have any solver module. Oh, I do. Oh, interesting. I don't think I need it, but I need the preset, and I need the extender. I don't know yet. Let's see. Let's see. So I don't need that. I don't need this for now. So let's just go. So now I want to have controls as a secondary entry point. And so let's go with that library, secondary entry control. So and just skip the module, because right, that's what we have. We're gonna have oh my goodness. We're gonna have lib orbit controls of directive.ts. That's about what I want. And this is going to be a class of entity solver orbit controls, and it's going to be a module, ng module. Let's export back here. It's going to be a, what is this? Is this a directive? It is a directive. Okay, it is a directive. There we go. All right, so directive entity solver orbit controls. For that entity solver orbit controls. It's gonna have the state. Three camera. 3 from 3. Right, and NGT vector 3. There we go. Orbit control. Let's import that from that. I think I can just copy everything here. So let's 1 second. So just quickly copy everything, and we can go over it later. Right, so inside of here, I'm gonna extend enhance component store with that solver control state. I want to rename this to FGT as well, and implement on init. Whoa! Right, there we go. Now it's error because we need to add that, all of this, add 3 event. Right, so I have controls frames, camera DOM element. Oh, my music's gone. 1 second. I need my music. So make default. Control effect. That's a regress, and that's the controls right there. The loop service is gonna be NGT loop service. We don't have that anymore, but we have store, NGT store, NGT event store, NGT animation store. It's actually NGT animation frame store, animation frame store, NGT performance store, and NG zone. There we go. So all of these are default values. All right. Set DOM element. So I'm saying connected is not a boolean. Wait. Oh, I see. I see. So if you look into the event store on init, right? On init. Wait. Yeah, on connect. Right, on connect. So basically the type of connected can be false or an HTML element, right? On HTML element. So basically it's saying here that if this is the type of this value is not a boolean, which means it's not a false value, which means that it has to have an HTML element as the value. So we're going to use that because we connect it to a DOM element, like we connect the events to a DOM element. We're going to use that. If not, we're just going to use the DOM element on the renderer, right? And we're going to set the camera to that. All right, so this one is a little bit different right here. So we need the register animation. We technically we don't really need animation tear down, right? Because in the update animation frame, the register method does have the unregister. So whenever you call it and when it gets destroyed, we unregister. But then this is a little bit different, right? Because we do want to unsubscribe from it. We do want to unsubscribe from it. Okay, so let's just go. We want to unsubscribe from it, so we still have the animation tear now, but it actually a subscription now. So I'm just gonna call this animation subscription. Right, it's gonna be a subscription. Subscription is that right back here. It's just gonna comment it out, and we'll do animation subscription equals to it's not animation frame store, not register, and we're gonna register that, right? And that basically, right? And of course, before I forgot, let's just run all of this outside of Angular zone, right? Because we don't need that inside of Angular zone. Oh, so register that with callback animation subscription. That's good, right? Grab this camera, run outside, patch state. Yep. All right, so I have that controls. Oh, it's not gonna be that, but it is an effect. It's gonna be an effect. I mean, I do have an enhance effects, but it's deprecated. So said deprecate is simple. Use tab effect with the effect instead. So just do effect, right? And add this tab effect. Love service. So let's look at this code. It's this one right here. So we call invalidate, right? So I have invalidate now. It did a state of what? Entity state. Is that the it's a store dot get appearance state? Yeah. Performance store. Performance store. I have a regress effect, right? It's just gonna call that instead. So if I'm observing that, I'm just gonna call that store callback and callback. Run outside of Angular. Oh, we just set up the callback. Change callback, star callback. That, yeah, looks good to me. All right, so make default store O control. So this is gonna be store. Oh, I don't have a control. So okay. I need controls right there. Let's go back to my store. I think we look good on this one. So we look good on this one. So let's just double check. Yeah, all that we can just change that as soon as we're ready. Do we have a ready? We don't have ready. Let's have a controls to return it. To return it, so that's right there. Of course, let's have a ready. And there's a new object copy control, and this is it's not ready, not emit. And now I have that. Looks good. This export. Save that. Now go back to my library. To the demo actually. Right now I can just use that control. Say NGT orbit control and import that. Now go back to module, make sure that it import correctly. There we go. And so it import from server control, which is what we want. Now let's just run it. All right, let's go to localhost 4200 and we can use the op controls now. Right, that is the op controls, baby. I don't know why I have that. Unable to prevent default. So it's Angular unable to prevent default inside passive event. So what is this? Hello. Adding assist as property touch action none to the elements firing the event is working. Hey. Same here, girl. So wait, so if I go back to my orbit controls directive and console log DOM element. What is the DOM element? It's the canvas, so it's the DOM element from the renderer. Right, is that the DOM element from the renderer? Is that also the element from connected? So let's look at event store real quick here. Connect. There we go. So I'm just going to quick element. If it's the same element, yeah, it is same canvas element. So okay. I want to check this guy. So oh wait, so they connect later. Interesting. right? So that's fine to me. So they connect on that, right? So let's fix this. Let's fix this. So we only need a camera, right? We don't need the DOM element. We don't need that, right? We need the camera, or now this can just be that camera undefined controls params. It could just be this to be quite honest. So back here. Why do I need this camera? Is it because this accept camera? I see. Okay, okay. So what I can do? Ờ, không không có gì mạnh hơn. Nói thế không đúng, mạnh hơn ở chỗ là nó dễ, nó dùng web animation API, so JavaScript. Nó dùng web animation API cho nên là JavaScript, cho nên nó dynamic hơn một tí. Tuy nhiên so với performance thì anh nghĩ là CSS performance ngon hơn. That's a trade-off. Web animation API, tìm đọc đi. Web animation API right here. So, cái thằng Angular animation nó dùng cái này under the hood. So cái này nó dùng JavaScript. So, right, so I can do store.get imperative state.camera right here. Right. DOM element, I can also do get imperative state.renderer DOM element. I can have that by default. And here yeah, I can do this. I can do this instead. So type of so I can have that, so I don't need this here. Right, with those second controls effect. Set controls events effect. So I think I need to go here, right there. After I set up a callback, like right before I add a callback, I can do the DOM element here. Right, so go back to this. So this one I have DOM element, that right, DOM element. So if control, so if DOM element control start connect DOM element. Uh-oh. Doesn't seem like it works. Oh, wait. All right, so I have that camera. Do I have that camera? Should have the camera. Oh my goodness, it's undefined. Right, so this is not good because all right, undefined. I'll set you later then. Undefined. All right, the setup of data dot set camera dot store dot get imperative state dot camera, and then this dot update us dot set element. And that's what I have. Oh, why? Why do we have that? Um, so annoying. That's all the controls. DOM element is canvas, but for some reason it's not. I have a bunch of unable to prevent default inside passive event. Once more as well. Passive event, listen to invocation. And we'll make sure that everything inside of Three.js run outside of Angular, regardless of logic or not, like heavy logic or not. Unable to prevent default inside a passive event listen up invocation. No. import passive event listeners and controls. It addresses no, it does not. Automation browser encourages you to apply in the case of when you know the listener would never prevent default to affect scroll. We want to use the non-passive listener because usually these listeners' whole point is to facilitate scene interaction by specifying them as passive force in the control source code that will appear. Chrome and remove this violation. So it looks like if I make this false, does this work? Hey, if I make that false, then it's working. So let's double check that. Events core event.ts web. It's true. This one true. On lost pointer capture. Lost pointer capture. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why is that? Why is that? Maybe React is different. I don't know, maybe React is different. So object controls. Right. I don't have any error. Why? Kind of weird. Anyway, it works. I'm just gonna remove this one out. So a passive event, passive will, errors with object control. Right. Nếu mà anyway, nếu mà thắc mắc thì thư viện này rất là nhiều chỗ chạy outside of Angular because I mean we want to make sure that it runs outside of Angular regardless, right? Because the thing is we don't really know, mình đâu có biết được là bên trong này nó chạy cái gì đâu, ở dưới bên Three nó chạy cái gì đâu, cho nên là no, just go outside of Angular. I don't care, just go outside of Angular. Có một số chỗ chạy quay lại right here, có chỗ này chạy quay lại bên trong lại Angular Zone. Lý do là vì đây là các event, ví dụ như event pointer chẳng hạn, pointer over chẳng hạn, thì mình muốn là những cái event này khi mà nó invoke thì nó sẽ update the state, right? Ví dụ là đồ đây, nên là thay đổi cái state hover thì nó phải re-render lại đúng không? Ở đây mình sẽ có là hover, nếu mà hover thì là turquoise, còn I mean papaya. I don't even know if that is that a tomato. Right, so nếu mà không hover thì nó sẽ là màu này, và hover nó sẽ qua màu turquoise, right? Thì đây là mỗi lần mà mình hover qua là state nó sẽ thay đổi, nhưng nếu như không có mình không có quay lại Angular Zone thì hover state nó không thay đổi, thì chỉ có một số chỗ chạy lại bên trong Angular Zone thôi để nó update được cái state. Nếu mà mình nhìn vào Angular Performance Profiler right here, record, chỉ có khi nào mình vào đây thì nó mới thay đổi state thôi. Right, nó mới chạy được cái profile thôi, và nó chạy rất là nhanh thôi, và nó không chạy gì nhiều cả, chỉ thay đổi cái app component của mình rất là ít thôi. Flame graph cũng that's it. Cho nên là nó khá là nhanh. Ờ, mình sẽ giữ nó luôn cũng được. Mình nghĩ là tới đây là có lẽ là dừng là được, so oops, right, beep or control to store, fix core, change row event to passive false to prevent errors from other controls. Soba, add the controls. Alright, it says eat for Soba and orbit control. Let's just stellar with orbit controls. Push. Alright, hẹn gặp các bạn trong ngày kế tiếp. Bye bye.